is called to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Clerk Ed Norris, please call the roll.
Mayor McClellan.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Here.
Councilmember Seligson.
Here.
Councilmember Burns.
Here.
Councilmember Speech.
Here. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We next have the consent agenda. These are routine items that are presented to City Council for blanket approval as a single item. Any council member can ask for an item to be dropped from the blanket motion of approval and considered separately. The items for tonight's consent agenda are special council meeting minutes of August 3rd, 2015, regular council meeting minutes of August 3rd, Board of Review meeting minutes of July 21st, Planning Commission meeting minutes of May 11th, Library Board meeting minutes of June 16th and July 21st, authorization for the Public Works Department to participate in the Macomb County contract bid for the purchase of an unmarked police vehicle, and the MIDEAL contract bid for the purchase of a marked police vehicle. Request to advertise for bids for the 2015 miscellaneous concrete project M621. Payment application number 22, final, for the 2011 City Hall Public Safety Building Construction Project, M558, to Frank Rewald and Sons Incorporated in the amount of $11,836.74. Payment application number 4, final, for the 2013 Street Repaving Project, M556, to Proline Asphalt Paving Corporation in the amount of $2,000. Payment application number 1 for the 2015 Catch Basin Line Replacement and Sewer Lateral Repair Project, M606, to Trollson Excavating in the amount of $281,291.69. Licenses, new and renewal, as submitted for August 17th, 2015. Motion to approve the consent agenda, please.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. There is no discussion. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Seligson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved. I don't see visiting elected officials here. So we are at item number 7 on the agenda, special recognition and presentations. We have a proclamation honoring Judge Shlomo Saul-Spurka and Ruth Ann Oken, who is the director of the Michigan Employment Relations Commission, will be receiving it on behalf of Saul and his family, and would like to come to the podium and say a few words.
Thank you so much for this honor, Mayor and Council. I am the current Bureau of Employment Relations Director. Saul was the former director at Merck. He was more than a former director. He was an administrative law judge, an arbitrator, a fact finder, a professor at Wayne State University Law School, and frankly, he was a giant in the labor relations world. He was the interim director of the university program in labor relations. He was a gentleman and a scholar. Frankly, Saul wore shoes that I never, as director of the Bureau, could ever hope to fill. He was my mentor. He was readily available to any constituent that had a question with regard to labor relations. In a world of labor relations where you often don't have a lot of laughter, he was kind, he was good-humored. The most incredible thing about Saul, though, is that he was able to blend his impeccable knowledge of labor relations with his profound commitment to his Judaism and to his family. He will truly be missed. He was a lifelong resident of Oak Park who has dedicated his entire life to public service, and I'm honored to accept the award on his behalf.
It's wonderful. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
If city council members will join me down at the front for a photograph. Two other members from the commission are here.
Yes, oh, I do. I have two members, actually, labor mediators. A former labor mediator, Jim Amar, who in fact mediated a lot of cases in Oak Park, and current labor mediator, Bob Strasberg, who was a resident of Oak Park for a long period of time. They're more than honored to be here on my behalf.
Join us under the seal and we'll get an official.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay, we have a public hearing of an application by The Loop on Greenfield for an obsolete property rehabilitation certificate for parcels 5225, 19, 326, 017, and 5225, 19, 301, 012. Otherwise known as Providence Green Apartments. So we will open the public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak about the Loop on Greenfield? Would you please step up? Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Kevin Kovacevic, 477 Lake Park Drive, Birmingham, Michigan. I represent the borrowing entity and current ownership of The Loop on Greenfield, formerly Providence Green Apartments. Just wanted to say we're pleased to announce that we closed on the acquisition as anticipated on August 10th, 1 week ago today. We're already making strides of improvement at the property. We've recently employed the 24-hour guard service. There's rotating guards that come through to inspect and make sure the property is safe, and they've been employed and they started the day we closed. Additionally, since closing, we've added some temporary signage and changed the name. So we're trying to get rid of the old Providence Green stigma and name and move forward with a new name, The Loop on Greenfield. I hope you find it to be refreshing.
Right. I drove in there and saw the Loop.
Great,
that you
yeah.
drive through.
Each entry is a loop, so we decided to go with the Loop. We're still trying out some color schemes, so feel free to drive by the next 30 days, and you'll see some dramatic changes start to occur at the project as we move forward with the rehabilitation. The rehabilitation project is starting on the inside, so it might take a little time before you start to see some actual physical changes on the outside. But I am pleased to announce that the window job has been, the contract has been signed, and the windows are going to start being replaced. Predominantly 75% of the windows will be replaced at the project within the next 60 to 90 days. The asphalt work is being finalized and will be done this fall. And there's also some roofing work that's going to be done before the winter as well. So that is all in the works, and the process has started. And we are very excited to be part of this opportunity, and we're pleased to let you guys know we closed, and we're ready to move forward with the full acquisition and the full rehabilitation.
Residents have already said how delighted they are with the security that you're putting into that
Good.
property. That is a big relief for
Well,
everyone.
it was priority number one.
And all these, so you're not waiting until January to start renovation, you're starting
No, we're
immediately.
going to start now. There's a lot of things that are needed. Security being number one. We want to make sure all the doors are secured, that the doors are, a lot of the doors don't lock when they close. There's a lot of issues with, just people propping doors open. We want to make sure these are all, security is priority number one. Lighting is another thing that we're working on currently. We're still working on proposals for that.
What do you plan to do with the lighting?
We're trying to add a bunch of LED lighting outside to brighten the dark spaces. There's a lot of nooks and crannies at that property. And so we're trying to add lighting where we can, as economically as we can, to brighten up every entry, brighten up every space that could, harbor some lingering and loitering, just to, again, to add to the overall security of the project.
We're delighted. Certainly, it's a property that hasn't had the best reputation, and so we look forward to you starting a whole new reputation for this property.
We as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Is this about the loop on Greenfield? Yes, okay. Sorry.
Jim Head, HEAD, 15307 Northgate, apartment 201. Namely, in your plan that you gave to the city, there wasn't much detail, but you did mention at the very end of the capital improvements about leasing up, and I'm kind of curious on what that actually means. Does that mean you're going to be increasing the rent? Or is that just meaning a way to increase the people entering the complex? Also, there's an issue that I don't know who did it, but over by the intersection of the 696 now at the loop, someone dug up part of the sidewalk, and that has never been fixed. I don't know who's responsible for that. That might be something to look into as well, because that is a kind of an annoyance.
3 minutes.
And hopefully, I won't. If it is raising the rent, I will still be able to afford it because I work nearby.
Thank you. Anyone else for the loop on Greenfield? Anyone else? Okay, we will close the public hearing. Need a motion for approval of the application by the Loop on Greenfield for an obsolete property rehabilitation certificate for the parcels previously mentioned, otherwise known as Providence Green Apartments.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, roll call, please. Oh, discussion, sorry.
Just had a question, and perhaps Kevin, you can answer this one. I'm noticing the renovation budget here that you pulled the line item off for overhead and salaries. Is that just off? It's no longer listed on the budget listing?
You have to come to the microphone so the people at home can hear you.
As you'll notice, we increased the contingency for the last meeting, and we also reduced excluded any overhead and profit, as it's not an item that's allowed on the application for the tax abatement.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion or questions? Councilmember Speech.
Yes, I just wanted to ask the question the gentleman asked, just so that we could understand and he could have his answer. What does renting up mean?
Sure. Currently, the property is 32% occupied. So the plan is to occupy the vacant units. Vacancy creates problems not only for cash flow, but also for problematic things to occur at the property when there's vacant units that people can get into. So the plan is, and to answer your question, Jim, is to lease up the building with occupants. Currently, we intend to hold rents where they're currently at. We are going to be making significant improvements, not only to the exterior of the project, but also to the interior. So part of our plan does include replacing kitchens, replacing cabinetry, replacing appliances, replacing carpet, painting walls, adding new lighting fixtures. So as units do get upgraded and improved, rents may increase to help offset the payment of those improved projects, but there will be a ton of units that stay in their current state today to allow for a gradual lease up. This is a 3-year plan. So our intention is to keep rents where they're at today. There is a ton of vacant units that need to be filled before we even consider moving rents up, especially for tenants that are continuing to live there today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Mayor Pro Tem.
Just for the benefit of the public, we have also just approved guidelines that basically we're only holding your feet to the fire for things that are reasonable and normal, and that's basically maintaining the property, being able to make sure that you prosper in the property and the property upgrades and continues to be maintained and upgraded. So we're looking forward to that. The obvious, guidelines do have revocation if there's a lapse in paying taxes, if there's anything that would be a tax tribunal dispute that we don't anticipate, or any code violations down the road. But as I said, that your intent is to improve the properties and make the market value properties and very attractive to the public.
Absolutely.
City Manager Tungate.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to thank you guys for being so open to working with my staff. And I have to say it again just because it's my duty to say this, but please take into consideration what a prominent, strong area that is for our community as a gateway to our community. And I also just wanted to just reiterate something the Mayor Pro Tem just mentioned, which is the guidelines do require that you maintain the city's taxes, that you are not behind on taxes. 2, that it's up to code at all times. And clearly we know now that the property is not up to code,
Right.
so we assume when you get your new C of O that will
Right.
keep those guidelines in place. And then lastly, that you do not appeal the taxes to the Michigan Tax Tribunal. And those things are under the discretion of City Council to revoke the incentive if any one of those should occur. So I just wanted to make sure, because those were things that we added into these guidelines at the previous special meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for coming. Council member speech.
Just in case it wasn't said, I just want to say how excited I am. The curb appeal alone is something that I know will impact that section of Oak Park, which has been very much not only an eyesore, but has been a detriment to, unfortunately, some individuals that have been hurt in that area. And so we're excited to see you here. We're glad that you wanted to invest in Oak Park, and I am hoping that we have a great relationship, and the tenants have a great experience as well.
Thank you. I think we have closed the public hearing and voted, yes. Say it again. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Selleckson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech,
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
Motion is carried unanimously. Welcome to the city of Oak Park. We don't have communications special license. Item 10A is a request for special event license and waiver of the application fee as submitted by Marcina Cole, 23-530 Condon, for the annual Condon Street Block Party to be held on September 5th, 2015. A motion to approve this request with the waiver of fees.
Support.
Okay, any discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item B, A request for a special event license and waiver of the application fee is submitted by Ferndale Area Crop Hunger Walk, 23441 Meadowlark, for a fundraising walk to be held on September 27th, 2015. Is there a request for the fees to be waived on
Yes.
this one? Yes?
Yeah, there's someone. Please waive fee. It's on
Please
these,
waive fees, got it.
page 3.
Got it. Okay, a motion to approve the request and waiver of fees.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion or questions?
Question,
Councilmember Burns.
if the event is not open to the public,
The event is open to everyone, I believe. City Manager Tunke?
Councilmember Burns, that is, I believe that is incorrectly listed in their application. Now, one of the things that we did prior to this meeting was go back and look at previous years in the same request, and virtually every single time we have waived the fee for this event, even though, yes, they've marked, no, it's not open to the public. I believe they intended to mark yes.
okay, if you believe so.
I believe that.
Any other questions? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, motion carried. Item 11 is accounting reports. Approval for payment of an invoice submitted by Garen Lugo Miller PC for legal services in the total amount of $11,978.25.
So moved.
Support,
Thank you, moved in support. Discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Selleckson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech,
Yes.
Councilmember Burns,
yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Motion carried. Item 12, a motion to award the bid for the 2015 block pruning project M636 to Owens Tree Service Incorporated of Attica, Michigan, for the total amount of $49,968 for pruning 1,041 trees.
So moved.
Support.
Moved in support. Discussion or questions? Maybe we could have Assistant City Manager Yee, who finally got the right title.
Good evening.
Thank you. Can you discuss this project and the choice of the winner?
Well, the project was publicly bid, and the low bidder is a different bidder than who has done the work for the past few years, but they have done work in the city several years ago, and they do have good references. So as much as we did like and did think the last company did a fantastic job, we think these guys are equally as capable.
Okay. Questions? Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Which, is this being done throughout the city or at one area at a time? How are you approaching this?
Throughout the city, we pick different streets where we think that the highest priority is for pruning.
Okay. And I do have to say, bicycling around here, it has added a lot of value and beauty to our city, having the trees properly maintained, and just makes the neighborhoods that much more pleasant.
I agree 100%.
Councilmember Burns.
I'm just curious, Kevin, I'm sorry, Assistant City Manager, what was the selection process to determine which streets would be
Which
done?
streets?
or-
Our foreman in our forestry department take a look at different streets, and they determine where it needs to be done, where the highest priority is, where the streets are hanging down, where we have potential problems and conflicts with rubbish trucks, snow plows, things like that. So that's the first priority they look at. And we also have timeframes when we did it last. So kind of a multifaceted evaluation system that we use and try to pick the areas that need it the most.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Speech.
I know we had the electric company come in with a few contractors recently to do things around the wires. But would the pruning include things like pruning the tops of the trees from around the street lamps? Or is that something that is the electric wire? Because I notice a lot of streets have beautiful trees that are right at the street lamps.
Right.
So is that a pruning issue or is that a DTE
No, that's not gonna be DT. DT is more concerned with, around power lines than they
Okay.
are with around the streetlights. This
Okay.
pruning project would cut back from around streetlights.
Okay. So if that hasn't been something that you all look at, I would, add that to it. I'm sure you guys are very thorough, though.
We're looking at all those things.
That one
Okay.
that came in this week was about a streetlight. And I couldn't vote on it. Good. Okay, excellent. Any further questions? Okay. We are ready to vote to award this bid. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Seligson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes, motion carried. Next under bids is an award of a bid for the 2015 sewer lining project, M623, to Instuform Technologies of Chesterfield, Missouri, for the total amount of $280,791.80. Assistant City Manager Yee, I wonder if you would explain this project and the choice of the winner of the bid.
Yes, the same process is used for all of our projects. They're publicly bid, and there's a sealed bid process. The city clerk opens a bid at a designated time, so everyone has an opportunity who's in the business to place a bid. This project lines sewers, so what they do is they put in what's called the cured-in-place liner, and what it is, it's a soft liner that's embedded with epoxies, and they put it in the sewer. They boil it for a period of time until the liner hardens, and it becomes basically a structural sewer on its own. So what we do is as you're all well aware, we clean and televise our sewers every year, and we evaluate the sewers from that standpoint to see which ones are in condition that would be suitable for lining, and we prioritize them that way, and we line the sewers.
Nice. You don't always pick the lowest bidder, so you are happy with this company and its work.
We generally pick the lowest bidder unless we have a reason not to. So, Instuform has done a lot of successful projects for us, so we have no reason, we're very pleased that they're our bidder.
Wonderful, wonderful. Any questions?
No, but that company, I remember when I started here 25 years ago, they were like the leader in the field then. I think they came up with this technology.
Yes, yeah, and they still do a great job.
And the city of Oak Park does a phenomenal job maintaining its sewers, cameraing the lines every year, keeping right on top of it. It's astounding.
That's what we strive for.
I have a question, Mayor.
Yes.
I just want to be clear about the bidding system. You said it's a closed bidding system, so it's in-state or out-of-state bids that are welcomed?
It's an open bidding system.
I mean,
so
open bidding
yes.
system, but the envelope,
Yes,
you
it's
said
a
it was
sealed bid,
closed.
so, anyone can bid that's qualified to do the work.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Actually,
Okay.
anyone can bid, we make sure they're qualified to do the work.
okay. All right, thank you.
Right, ready to vote? Roll call, please. Do we have a motion?
We need a motion.
Motion to award this bid.
So moved?
Second.
Moved and seconded, and we had the discussion, so we can have the roll call. Thank you.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes,
Councilmember Seligson.
Yes.
motion carried. Item 13 is ordinances. Need approval of a first reading of an ordinance to amend Article 3, Boards and Commissions, Chapter 2, Administration of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oak Park by amending Division 6, Cable Television Advisory Commission thereof, thereby changing the duties of said commission. Motion to approve this first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and supported. Discussion or questions? Is there someone who can explain the changes that are requested? They're in our packet, but,
We have Director DeSantis and the commissioner
is
here.
this the commission chair?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and administrators. My name is Stephen Gold. I'm the chairperson of the Communications Committee. And we decided, looking at that, a quick bit of history is that it started off as the Cable
Television,
Commission, Advisory Commission. You have to excuse me, it's the medication I'm on, dries me out. And it was primarily concerned with regulating cable TV. Back then, we set the rates for cable TV, and we had a lot to do with it. And things have changed, but the ordinance hadn't. The wording in the ordinance hadn't changed. So we decided it was to address that and take out some of the old obsolete language where we say that we do oversight and a couple of other things, and to bring the ordinance into alignment with the goals of the commission and to better be able to serve the community. And we dropped some things like provides advisory functions for cable television advisory, because that's not that's only one of our duties now. It's not our primary one. When the commission came into existence, we had cable TV. The cable channel was the primary way of communicating. And that's no longer the case. People that have UVerse don't get our community cable channel, and now people are more reliant on the website and social media. So that's the purpose of why we decided to propose these changes.
Excellent. Thank you. Are there, Director DeSantis, did you want to add to anything?
I think you did a great job.
Good.
The only thing is that we are only changing the function on the ordinance, and the focus is improving communications and engaging the community. But otherwise, I think he's well stated.
Wonderful. Thank you. Question, Councilmember Speech.
Yes, no, not a question, just a comment. I am the council member on that commission, and I know they've done a wonderful job. That's one of the more active commissions that I'm on. And one of the things that they were careful to do was to not only look at the language of today and the things that we're using today, but the potential of things for tomorrow. So to try to be very broad as far as using social media or community events, et cetera, where the previous language was very specific.
Any other questions?
Just a comment.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yep, government is tediously slow, and it took over 7 years to get to this, and I'm very proud to see that our city is looking forward and really filling a void that we had in terms of dealing with improved communications and interactivity with the residents. Thank you.
Thank you for everything you do. All these commissions are volunteers working their hearts out, and we sure appreciate your efforts.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
So we are on a vote to approve this first reading. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Burns,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Seligson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Motion approved. Next, we have a first reading of an ordinance to amend Appendix A zoning, Article 3, the official zoning map contained therein being part of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oak Park, Michigan, by changing the use district of certain parcels of land in Section 33 and currently zoned R1, one-family dwelling district, to RM1, multifamily residential district. So we need first a motion to approve this first reading.
So move,
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion or questions? Are we ready to vote? Oh, please, let's have our Director of Economic Development. I knew it was something like that. Please speak to this.
Good evening. I just wanted to mention that this was discussed at a public hearing at the August 10th Planning Commission meeting, and it is the recommendation of the Planning Commission that council approve this.
Okay, that's great. Anything further? No? Thank you. All right, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Seligson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
yes.
Motion carried. The city attorney can't be with us tonight. City Manager Tungate, will you please help us with item 15?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. I'd like to call our Economic Development Manager, Kim Maroney, back up to the podium. And before I turn her loose, I'd like to say how happy I am that this being our first request for a facade improvement grant. We've
yes.
talked about this now for at least the 3 years that I've been the city manager, but Kim, take it away and explain.
Yes, we have our first application for the facade improvement program, which City Council approved. We currently have $18,500 in that fund. And we have our first applicant on 9 Mile, Robert Merrick. He is an artist, sculptor, that would like to renovate the outside of his building and is also talking to the person who owns the building next door, so we may be getting another application soon. I've included in the packet what the building currently looks like, the bids that were done, and what it will look like after the renovations are complete. It is a 50% grant match, so the total amount to be approved tonight would be $2,484.42. He would do all the renovations, submit all the paid receipts, and we would reimburse them from there. All the funds are being held by Fiduciary, the Michigan Suburbs Alliance, so all the checks would be cut through them. But we still need City Council approval to allow for this. And he sends his regards. He was unable to make it tonight. He had something come up last minute, but hopes that you will approve it.
It's wonderful. Looks beautiful according to the pictures in the packet that we have. So we have a request to approve a facade improvement grant to Robert Merrick, 8104 West 9 Mile Road, in the amount of $2,484.42.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion or questions, comments?
Just a comment.
Councilmember Burns.
I would just like to relay the same sentiments. I'm really glad to see that someone is taking advantage of this really nice program that we have for our businesses. And I hope to see more applications in the very near future.
Amen. Okay, ready to vote? Roll call, please.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Selleckson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech,
Yes.
Councilmember Burns,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Motion carried. This allows a business owner to get 50% reimbursement for fixing up the front of their business, the door, the windows, the signage, to make our town look wonderful.
Madam Mayor, if I could just add to that, that I wanted to make note that all of the funds that have been accumulated in this fiduciary account held by the Suburbs Alliance, all of these funds are privately donated funds that, as you say, will go a long way towards fixing up some of our storefronts. Economic Development Director Maroney, will you do 15B for us, please?
Yes, I will. At the August 10th Planning Commission meeting, we reviewed a site plan for Community Housing Network for the site at 22001 Republic Avenue, formerly Jefferson School site, to construct 40 new townhomes and 20 apartment buildings in the Jefferson School. And the Planning Commission voted to recommend to City Council to approve the final site plan with conditions that are stated on the form in front of you. There's five items that it is going to be conditioned upon. I can read them if you'd like, but that's up to you. I do have Community Housing Network here if you do have any questions.
Okay, we need a motion to rezone this portion.
So moved.
This
Point-
is
point
for
of
the
order.
site plan.
No, this is the site plan.
Site plan,
This is
sorry.
site plan.
Correct.
No seconds, yeah.
Support.
Oh, we're here. Got it. Request approval of the final site plan noted to, subject to the noted conditions recommended by the Planning Commission for Community Housing Network, 22001 Republic. Do we have a motion? Yes,
And a
motion
second.
and support. Discussion or questions? Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have our attorney here. I don't think that we can do this until we approve the rezoning. It's not zoned for this.
It's one of the
And-
conditions of the approval.
So this will only go into effect if the zoning goes into effect, if we have a public hearing.
Correct. The
Next
development
meeting
can't happen.
For the zoning.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions? Councilmember Speech.
No questions. I know one of the, I don't know if it's now or later, but I should mention
Oh, yeah, the idea for, and objections we're talking about at the previous meetings were about the lack of green space, the loss of green space to the neighboring community. And Councilmember's speech had toured the area and came up with a suggestion.
Now, I know this is the final approval for us, so the city council won't be saying
Approve by
anymore,
site
but I know that the community has Can you hear me now? Okay, I apologize. The city has a function to approve things and set policy, et cetera. But we've been very willing to hear from the community because this is something that's such a passionate issue. I know tomorrow, I think Community Housing Network is having an event to hear more from the community about the green space. And so in thinking about it and thinking about the vote that we were going to take tonight, I looked at the map of our city and realized we do have more green space close to Jefferson School, maybe not right at it, but perhaps something that could be considered. This is only an idea. The city council has nothing to do with it, but we're in discussion mode. So that's why I'm discussing it. The school at Lessinger, which is now an adult school, is a huge park that is available. It's available for a lot of things, but it's a huge space. And so green space is something that, dog park, soccer, whatever, that may be a possibility for. So as we approve this, I just want residents to know, because I talked to a lot of them after the meetings and on social media, et cetera, that we absolutely heard your concerns, but this may be one idea as we vote on this tonight. If it goes through, this may be one option for a green space that you can consider. And I know that the organization has mentioned that they would help in some ways of helping you to work that space out. So I just wanted to mention that. Oh, and I did check with the superintendent of schools and with our Department of Public Works to confirm it is city property, not school district property, but there is an adult school during the day, not an adult, but they're like the GED prep and that type of program during the day, but it still would not impact the park at all. And it's open to all residents. So Ferndale and Oak Park recreational agreement as well.
And looking at the map, it's about 2 blocks away?
It looks from the map like it's 2 blocks, but I think it's like a little under half a mile. 3 blocks, so it's about 3 blocks away. And I was excited when I saw it because and could actually get someone on the phone. I saw it on Friday night, and I couldn't call anyone until today. And so I blew up everyone's phones, but I did get the superintendent on the phone, and I got talked to Department of Public Works. It is a potential to talk about in your discussions, and I just wanted to share that.
So maybe the team would like to tour that property before the meeting as an option. Thank you for coming up with that.
I should mention, the reason I wanted to mention it also tonight before we took a vote is, unfortunately, in the city budget, we don't have a budget available to make more changes to the parks for this year. And so we are relying on partnerships, and especially like economic development. Maroney did. She went out for the facade improvement program, and she got additional funds. Well, if we have organizations that are saying they're willing to partner with the community to do something, it's worth looking at. And so I think that discussion may be had tomorrow as well.
FedEx might be getting a knock on its door.
Well, we have one community program here too, so, yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, I do not see a condition on here. I'd like to propose to amend this to include condition 6, and that would be the approval of the adoption of the the district RM1 multifamily residential district for the property, so that it's explicit on here.
What are we amending?
Under the recommended action, we have 5 conditions, and condition 6 would be the approval of the multifamily residential district zoning, RM1.
I think
should
that
be on
that's automatic.
No, it's not automatic. We have a public hearing next week on it.
No, but that's
next
an
meeting.
automatic part of the procedure, that it doesn't have to
It's
be
not
added.
listed as a recommended action. We have conditions here. It should be one of the conditions. I don't have our lawyer here, but I think
Eric,
that should be listed on there
Tunde,
clearly.
please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem, it's not listed in the conditions, and council members, I see no reason why it can't be brought to the forefront as number 6. When Kim mentioned that, she was referring to the memorandum that was provided, and actually, I believe it's in the second paragraph where it says, based upon the requested rezoning request becoming effective, the proposed development is a permitted use in the RM-1 multifamily residential district zone.
Right, I'd like to just amend the motion so that that is included in the recommended action, so that we are
Is there any objection
done this properly.
to that? No. Okay.
Yes.
Based on the rezoning request becoming effective, as stated in the memorandum.
Very
Okay,
good.
so we have a motion? We needed a motion on the minute. Okay, motion to amend this to include item 6, based on the requested rezoning request becoming effective. The proposed development is a permitted use.
So moved.
Got a second?
Support.
Support. All those in favor of adding this amendment?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So now, do we have a motion on the amended version? Yes, we have a motion and a second.
Yes.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Item C, do you want to call for this?
Economic Development Director Kim Maroney is here to give a Summerfest update. I also believe we had some commission members here as well. I had asked Kim to give this update because we had a very successful event, and I wanted her to go over it.
Wildly successful.
Wildly.
Yes, thank you. Excited here tonight to report back on the Summerfest that was held August 8th and 9th at Shepherd Park. And there is going to be a slideshow running while I talk about it. So take a look at the screens. Last year, our event attracted about 3,000 residents and visitors over the 2-day period. This year, we had between 7,000 and 8,000, so more than doubling our numbers. We received over $7,800 in sponsorship revenue. Presenting sponsors were Burger Realty, AT&T Uverse, Fresh Baked Prince, and Frederick Douglass Academy. Fun in the Sun music sponsors were Paramount Precision Products. You didn't set up that ready. Community Housing Network. The beer tent was sponsored by Camp Casey. Unfortunately, we didn't have many patrons of the beer tent, but maybe next year. Our hot activity sponsors were MOPEC, Oakland County Parks and Rec, DTE Energy, and Phoenix Cafe. And our sizzling supporters were Mary McClellan, Surf Pro, Pennzoil 1 Hour, and Hindu Temple Rhythm. We had 20 artists at this year's Summerfest, 13 vendors. We had 9 food vendors. We had a lot of activities this year, a huge increase over the years before. We had stage entertainment, we had the DIA away bus, box hockey games, a tournament in box hockey, geocaching, a pet parade, pet adoption, health fair, inflatables, the rock wall, the beer tent, balloon artists, face painting, and so much more. And thank you to all of the volunteers, many of them in the room, if you would stand up, please, because we could not have done it without all of the great volunteers we had. We had about 22. We had 22 volunteers the day of the event and about 15 of them that planned throughout the year to make this event happen, and we couldn't have done it without them.
How long has this been planning?
Since last September.
That's a lot of work and a lot of meetings, and I want to thank the amazing staff and the amazing volunteers for making this the best ever, and tomorrow you can start planning for next year.
Yes. One thing, too, to mention, we did have a videographer there on site both days, and we asked residents to share their Oak Park memories. So they're editing that for us, and we should have that back in about a month. We need to determine how to get that out to the public. So that is yet to be determined. Anybody interested can contact me directly.
Unbelievable. Bravo. Oh, joy. More events just make it more fun to live in Oak Park and add to the quality of life and bring more people in to see what great things we have going for us.
Mayor and council members, 15D, I'd like to ask our library director, Brandon Bowman, please.
Thank you, City Manager, Mayor, Council. Today I'm here to talk a little bit about the Friends, the Oak Park Library. They came into existence in 1958, and since then they have donated over $15,000 worth of materials and money to the library. This year alone, they have donated about $2,500 for our summer reading program, which this year we had 2,696 individual participants in 28 programs, and 200 people attempted the summer reading program, 25 completed, so not as many as we'd like, but we had a lot of participation.
Tell us about the winners.
We had weekly winners, 15 weekly winners every week. The Friends had allowed one of our librarians, Charlie Osborne, to go to Book Expo America and get pre-published books, advanced reader copies, which she gave out to our weekly winners, so each one of them was able to get a free brand new book every week. So we gave out 8 weeks worth at $15 a week, so quite a bit overall. Plus we actually gave some extra here and there, as well as the winners at the end of the summer also got extra books. So we gave away a Kindle for a grand prize winner.
Wow.
So that was really nice, that was donated. Oh, sorry. So overall, it was a really successful summer reading program, probably one of the strongest ones we've had in years. So it was very, very good. And of course, that was all funded by the Friends. They donated all the money for that, so which was huge. And speaking of that, the Friends just became a 501c3, which is awesome for us, which allows us to start writing grants in a much greater capacity. Gives us a lot more opportunities to get larger grants, different kinds of grants that we normally couldn't get before. So this is going to be a huge boon for us going forward right now. But speaking of some of the fundraiser they have coming up, the next big fundraiser is the book sale. The annual book sale is going to be in October, the 22nd, 23rd, 25th, and 26th, which is a Thursday, Friday, Sunday, and Monday. That was one of their big fundraisers for the year. So if you get a chance to come up there, it will be held in the library this year like it was this spring, and it should be really fun, good stuff. Lots of things have been donated. But the biggest news is the fact that since we became a 501c3, we can now start participating in community rewards programs. So the first one that we can do is Kroger Rewards, which is fantastic. For anybody who has a Kroger Rewards program, you could designate the Friends as your charity, and for every time you have a sale in the store, they donate a portion of the profits of that sale to the Friends. It is no cost to anybody who's involved in the program, so it will not raise your bills or anything like that. But a little portion of the proceeds will go to the Friends. At libraries I was at before, that could mean as much as the extra $3,000, $4,000, or $5,000 a year. So it can add up very quickly, and they give those checks quarterly. So that will be nice.
So as residents, what would you like to see us do?
If anybody could, I'm going to be posting a thing on our Facebook page. If you haven't already liked us on Facebook, please do. On there will be instructions tomorrow morning how to do it, but it's really simple. You just go to KrogerCommunityRewards.com. If you don't have an account or a Kroger Rewards card, you can sign up for one through there. Once you sign in, at the very bottom of the first page of your account settings, it'll say designated charity. You click on that, and our number is 20807. So that is the Friends of the Library.
Repeat that one again.
It is 20807. And that will designate.
So we go to KrogerCommunityRewards.com,
yes.
and under designated charity, we put 20807. Then do we pay more for our groceries?
No, there's no cost to the people who designate us as a charity. Kroger is actually the one donating that money, so it comes off of their profit line.
So we pay what we normally pay, and the library wins. It's a win-win.
Yes, it's a very, very good program, and it's nice to actually have a Kroger right on the street. So, I might be able to to give the library tons of money on my own with my kids. So, as much as we shop at Kroger. But the last thing also is we signed up for Kohl's Cares, which is another community rewards program. For every program that we have that we can get 5 of their associates to attend, they will give us a check for $500 that has to be used for kids. So It doesn't matter if it's materials, books, activities, it just has to be used for children under the age of 18. So we've applied for a couple so far. We'll see who we can get for the fall and go from there.
Exciting
Yes.
things are happening at the library.
Yes, yes. So, but if anybody wants to volunteer for the Friends, you can be as active as you want. You don't even have to attend the meetings. Your $10 donation goes right to the library. We use that for tons of the summer reading program is all funded like that. And the next meeting is September 21st at 6 o'clock in room 4 of the rec center.
Director Bowman will be standing at the door collecting donations as you
I would
leave.
just like people to show up. It would be nice to, have people at our meetings and see the volunteers for this committee do a lot for the library. So, it's very nice for them to do that.
Thank you. This is very exciting.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, members of council, 15E, I'd like to ask Paul Wagowski from Dickinson Wright to join me at the podium, but before I turn him loose here on this one, there is nothing that gives me more pleasure than this activity that we are asking your approval to perform. And this does not have a direct impact on the city of Oak Park's general fund, but it does have a direct impact on our residents and the taxes that they pay. These are taxpayer-serviced bonds that are directly taxpayer-serviced by your property taxes. And I'm asking your permission to refund our 2006 street improvement bond issue a little bit early, and I believe even with the penalty that we will be able to save our taxpayers hopefully hundreds of thousands of dollars given the rate environment we're currently in. With that, Paul, if you would take it away.
Yes, thank you, Eric. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. As Eric mentioned, I'm with a member of Dickinson Wright law firm, and here in what would be our capacity as bond counsel to the city in connection with this proposed refunding bond issue. So as the overall goal of this, and then I can drill down in as much detail as you'd like on the procedure, the overall goal essentially is replacing current debt that the city has with new debt at lower interest rates. And so there would be less interest costs, less payments over the remaining life of the bond, which would be May 1 of 2030 is when the current bond finally matures. And as a result, in the lower cost every year, there would be a reduction in the millage rate and in the taxes that are levied against the property owners to pay the debt service on the bonds.
Lower taxes.
Lower taxes. The bonds that that we would be refunding were originally issued in 2006, and a certain amount of them matures every year, May 1 of each year until 2030. The bonds that mature in 2017 through 2030, those can be redeemed. They can be paid off early, starting May 1 of 2016. So the plan would be that the city issue the refunding bonds within the next couple of months, and then those proceeds of those bonds are placed in an escrow and used to pay off the 2006 bonds on May 1 of 2016, thus getting rid of all of that debt, replacing it with the new bonds. Okay.
Paul,
yes.
we are keeping the amortization, the 15 years remaining would stay in effect, correct?
That's right. Okay. That's right. The resolution you have before you it's a fairly lengthy resolution, but essentially it authorizes the action to be taken. Primarily, the city manager is delegated the authority to approve the final interest rates after the working group comes back and secures the interest rates. The professionals that you have involved, in addition to bond counsel, and our role is ultimately to give the legal opinion that to the bond purchaser that the bonds are valid and binding obligations of the city, and that the bonds essentially are tax exempt. The other professionals that you have would be a financial consultant to the city, and that is proposed to be Public Financial Management out of Ann Arbor. And they've been working with Eric already. in structuring the bond issue and providing advice to the city.
Council members, I wanted to clarify that this is the firm Stoddard Barch that we previously worked with on our 2013 refunding application. They've just changed names.
They've just changed it, yes, just within the past couple weeks with a merger with Public Financial Management. But that Stoddard Barch actually is remaining intact. And then so they provide the financial advice to the city to structure this in the best way to save the most amount of money. And then the other party that comes in is an underwriter of the bonds. That means a purchaser. They're the ones who, when the transaction closes, they will transfer the purchase price of the bonds to the city. And in the meantime, they're going out and getting potential buyers and then bringing that proposal back to the city. And then that's where Eric would be authorized, along with the recommendation of your financial consultant, to approve the interest rate on the bonds. Okay. And so this would be the only authorization needed from City Council, would be the adoption of this resolution.
So, Mayor and council members, when we are making this recommendation, this is a professional services firm, which we did seek out other firms to provide these services at the recommendation of our city attorney. And Paul has promised me a 1.9% rate, so we should be all set. I'm totally joking. We had a home run. We did this, and for those of you who don't know, we did this in 2013 for our 2003 street bonds, and we hit a home run. We got a 1.9% rate, which saved our taxpayers about $1.8 million over the course of the last 15 years. If the numbers, and I hesitate to bring these numbers up, but the projections that we've seen right now, while we probably won't save $1.8 million on this refunding application, we think that we could save about $700,000, and that's direct savings to our taxpayers, direct savings on your property tax bills.
So, we need a motion to authorize the issuance of refunding bonds not to exceed $9,500,000.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, discussion and questions. Councilmember Burns.
Just want to make sure that when we receive the new bonds, they will be at a lower interest rate than the ones that we're going to be paying off on May the 1st, 2016, correct?
That's correct. And if for some reason the interest rate market rose significantly between now and the time that the bonds are issued, the bonds would not be issued.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other concerns? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Selleckson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes, motion carried.
Thanks, Paul. Madam Mayor, members of council, that completes the city manager report for this evening.
Okay, item 16 is call to the audience. We have a 3-minute time limit. Our Mayor Pro Tem will time us. Please give us your name, address, and city.
Jim Head, 15307 Northgate, apartment 201. I came found out about an article out of New York State where they were passing a new handicap accessible sign, one that is not static, but it actually has one in the move. And I would like this council to consider an ordinance to possibly bring the idea here to Oak Park and be the first in Michigan. I'd like to present this article to the manager for his consideration. Unrelated, that's one item I was coming to. I did talk to Mr. Tungate a little bit before this meeting, and I mentioned something to him, left it at his office, about the fracking issue that some of the county cities, Rochester Hills and Oakland Township has had, and that's been done by the county. And he suggested that maybe this that I bring it to council to maybe consider an ordinance to keep it from coming to here. And hopefully that would be something to look into. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Steve Gold, 15000 Leslie. I have three quick things. First is Summerfest. There was an incident at Summerfest, and handicapped is the word. I had a hip injury and was using crutches, and because Summerfest was so successful, there weren't enough handicap parking spots. So I ended up parking at the high school and hobbling over to the Summerfest. And I ran into the mayor and I mentioned that we had lack of handicap spots, and it was just something that was overlooked in the planning procedures because it's never been that successful before. And she said, here's my cell phone number. When you're ready to leave, call me and I will drive you back to your car. What other city would have city officials that would help residents who are handicapped in a case like that because the city had overlooked some function? It just made me real proud to be a resident. And continuing along that line, Director Cooper. As you all know, there have been some very public issues with police departments and police community relationships around the country. And I want to commend Director Cooper especially for some terrific community outreach, one of which was the summer reading program in the library, where he went and read and talked to the kids, and that was followed up by the yellow fire engine that they could crawl all over. And this was just great because this gave them their first, perhaps many of them, their first contact with Department of Public Safety, which was a highly positive experience. And it was really a great thing to do, and I would like to commend him and everybody involved in that. And on a similar line, the Citizens Police Academy, which Public Safety ran. Pretty much the same thing. It gave a lot of our citizens the chance to experience and understand the role of public safety and what those officers do. I think it was a great program. I commend Director Cooper and all of his staff who were involved with that, and I would like to thank you very much for that. It was an outstanding example of community outreach, and the more the better. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Zena Atisha from Sahara Restaurant in Oak Park at 10 Mile and Coolidge, 24770 Coolidge. I just wanted to let everyone know that the Michigan Liquor Control Commission did approve our request for a C-Class license after the city approved it. So I just wanted to let everyone know that we will be making an order soon, and we do have the licenses hung up, and I'm hearing a lot of development, improvement, facade improvement, signs, new companies coming in, and 4 years ago, that's not what I was hearing at these meetings. So besides just the citizens voting and pushing for a better Oak Park and having all these, third year for us also doing the Summerfest, and year one to year two to this year, a gradual improvement, and a lot of opportunists that believed that it would become that way, and it did. So I'm just glad to hear that everyone's sticking with everything and the original plan to move Oak Park forward, and we're seeing a lot of improvement, and thank you for everything. Mayor.
When can you have your first wedding with mixed drinks?
As soon as we get an order in. I just have to make an order with liquor control. And now that the licenses are hung up, and we're beginning to start that. So as soon as that comes in.
Thanks for all you've done for the
Thank
city.
you. Thank you for voting.
Good afternoon. My name is Shirley Young. I live at 10301 Dartmouth, Oak Park. That's in the Manor. I don't know if I'm not aware of what's going on, but I've been washing my clothes, and every once in a while, I get rust on my clothes, and I thought it was my washing machine, because my washing machine I purchased in 1977. Well, I found out that it's when the hydrants are purged that you get that sediment, and it comes into the washing machine if you're washing clothes. And if you don't catch it, you fry it into when you put your clothes in the dryer. So some of my neighbors have had the same problem. They've ruined their clothes because of this. And so I'm wondering, does the city or the water department have a schedule of when they're purging the hydrants so that I can go and get it and I can be aware of when, well, not to wash my clothes during that time period. I mean, I don't know, maybe everybody else knew about this, but I didn't find out until today that that's why my clothes were being ruined. So should I talk to the board?
Speak to Assistant Director Kevin Yee on your way out, and it's a new issue that maybe we should think about.
Well, I just talked to officer right here, and he same thing happened to him on some of his clothes. I was telling him. So, I don't know if it's just me, but I just wanted to get some sort of information. So I can't look at my clothes every time I take them out of the wash machine and put them in the dryer.
Sure.
So thank you.
Talk to Assistant Director Yee, and maybe we'll come up with a solution.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Hi, my name is Aaron Tobin. I live on Balfour in Oak Park, and I wanted to address the council about the Jefferson Oaks project. I'm disappointed that it was approved tonight, especially since there is a meeting tomorrow night to see what can be done to alleviate some of the major concerns of the community in the vicinity. One of the things I had mentioned that I would like to again mention, people don't want to be driving their kids to a park. It's very dangerous for kids to be riding a half mile or a mile to a park. Right in this vicinity, if the council would demand that community housing network would keep this top part of the development for a public park, that would alleviate many of the concerns of the residents in the area. I think it is very important that we listen to the residents of Oak Park and their concerns. Listening to the residents doesn't mean just setting up a forum and hearing their words. It's taking their concerns into consideration and helping to work with the company that is building these units so that there is a compromise reached. Some of the people on the planning commission were quite rude, and they said to the residents, "You people better get used to change." Well, change comes in a lot of ways, and one of the ways is election time. But until then, I would really request that the council listens to the residents, takes their concerns to heart, and sees what ways we can work together to get the residents' concerns taken into consideration. Thank you very much.
Nadine Corey, 8550 Saratoga, right across the street from Jefferson Oaks.
Okay, are you an Oak Park resident?
Oh, yes, right across the street from the
Thank you.
Jefferson Oaks project. My concern is you guys have not listened, as Aaron said, to any of our concerns. The driveway is still on Saratoga to the entrance to the property. We have requested and asked for it to be moved over to Republic to eliminate some of the traffic that's going to be coming with this project. We like our green space. Give us from the city, from the area here. That's all we're asking for. We're not asking for a lot. Just give us back part of what you're taking away from us. The traffic issue, it's right next door to the bus yard. You have children that are dropped off and picked up at the buses. Our biggest concern is the parking with the residents that are going to be on Saratoga, where the project is going. Where are they going to be parking? Everybody says they're going to park in the parking lot behind us in the project area. Sorry, guys, I don't buy that. If your entrance is on Saratoga, you're going to park out front. That takes away from the residents that are on Saratoga. There's only parking on one side of the street on Saratoga. It was also mentioned at the other meeting by one of the residents on Saratoga that the street be widened to accommodate this. To my knowledge, that hasn't been looked into, and we were also advised that that was probably not a possibility, that the street would be widened to accommodate it. All we're asking for is just listen to what we're saying. Our concerns, at the Planning Commission meeting, we had one of the commission members was on our side, and we were very grateful for that. But you guys are voting on something that a green space meeting is going to happen tomorrow night. This is not right. That a meeting that hasn't taken place yet, you're voting on something and approving it. All we ask is that you listen to us.
Thank you. Yes. Please.
It's very rare that I say anything after comments from the audience, but I'm a very realistic person, and so I'm just gonna tell it like I've been telling people when I'm not at the council meeting and there's a mic in my face. The reality is that was Ferndale School property that they sold. There was green space that they allowed for whatever reason to be used for a long time. And I understand that people got used to it being there and you all made a wonderful use of it. But the reality is that changed. So now the opportunity is to say, okay, City of Oak Park, you got some citizens that are upset about our reality. How can you help us? And we're doing everything we can to help you. The decision we made today has nothing to do with the purchase of the sale of Oak Park, of the Jefferson School. Okay, we didn't have anything to do with that. But we are trying, and we have listened quite a bit to every resident, not just at council meetings. We are active in the community. So I want you to hear me and understand, at least hear my heart and understand, I totally get what you're saying. The problem is there are limits to what we as a council can do, and especially when there's a private property owner, which pretty much is what Community Housing Network is. They're private property owners. And so just like if someone came next door to you and you know, bought the house next door to you and decided they wanted to paint it black with pink shutters and grow stuff out their windows. I mean, you could come to us and complain about it, but unless they were violating an ordinance or doing something harmful or breaking a law, there's not much we could do about it. What we're doing here is doing as much as we can for law, by law and policy, to benefit the citizens of Oak Park, and to benefit that area, because a new development in that area is, in the long term, and I think actually in the short term, going to benefit the community. We've heard residents, we've heard the Community Housing Network say what they're willing to do. What we can't do is keep going back to the fact that you want it one way, because that way, unfortunately, it's not going to happen. Now, the reason that we could vote on what we voted on tonight was because that was in our purview. What is discussed tomorrow and whatever comes out of what's discussed, even the things I suggested, which were only suggestions, we can't force those things. Anything that comes out of tomorrow has to come out of the willingness of the community to say, okay, we couldn't have A, but what is B, C, and D? And even if you have to go to Plan Z, what are the possibilities here? Because we have already voted that this organization can have, this tax abatement. So they already had the property, okay? But we wanted it to do something for Oak Park residents. So we voted for something that will help Oak Park residents. Tomorrow, they're being gracious and saying, you know what, we care enough about what these people are seeing, we see their passion, that we're going to meet with them again. That's not us saying that. I mean, the Community Housing Network is doing that. Like I said, if it was someone moving next to you or some, big corporation, who knows what they might do. But we've done everything. I just want to reiterate, we as a council, I think, have done everything. Even in a session, we had an open session one time that actually we weren't supposed to have, where everyone could come to the mic, and we let everyone vent. And that was not an agenda item, but we need to hear from you. We're glad that we have residents that are as passionate as you, but we hope that when you have passion, you also have a certain amount of reasonableness that can kind of, help, understand that there's change, and that's not the only change that's coming to Oak Park either. I mean, there's wonderful changes that are coming that you can be a part of and tell us what you think about and come and rave at us. Just, there's people that have been upset. There's been people that have been supportive. We can accept that, but there are some things that are not in our control. So I don't want you to let someone make you think that we allowed something or took something away about the green space. The green space has nothing to do with our decision here, and we never had any control over that green space. That was the Ferndale school system selling property to another entity, period. We can't make that entity do anything with the green space, but we have had great discussions with them about it, and today I introduced another possibility. That's all.
Bravo. Well said. Thank you. Any other members of the audience want to speak? Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Levine?
Did we want to announce the date and time, the location of the meeting with community housing? I think we've got people here. Okay. Next.
We're actually friends.
Yes, thank you. I'm CJ Felton from Community Housing Network. The meeting tomorrow night is at the Community Center, room number 4, from 6 to 7:30. We're expecting right now, we've had about 10 or 12 people let us know. If it's going to be 75, please send me an email. I'll give you my email address. It's cjfelton, CJFELTON @chninc.net. We'll have to see if we can get a bigger room. Because the last time we met over there, the room was too small. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. I think one time up is fine. Okay. Anyone who didn't have a turn? Okay. Call to the City Council, Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Just want to, again, thank all the people that come out and volunteer and work hard on our boards and commissions, all the staff members that work closely with them to really make things happen from the ground up where it really counts. And we are right now in the process of welcoming people to interview for boards and commissions and to get involved. I'd like to just put a call out to all of our residents who have talents and interests to contact the city clerk's office. There's a form that's even, I believe, online now that you can complete, and we're interested in making sure we have highly qualified and energized people to be working with us on all the boards and commissions throughout the city. Thank you. Have a good night.
Council member speech, well said before.
Thank you. And that was heartfelt. I don't want anybody to think that I was, preaching at them or anything, but it was just reality. What I want to say, I want to piggyback a little bit on Mayor Pro Tem. Some of us have children that may be living at home. The only requirement for being on the commission, of course, is, of course, a desire to want to give back to your community, to live in the community for 2 years, and to be able to make the meetings. And so you can find out more information about the commissions online, but some of you parents have some kids, some grown adult kids that you might say, this would be a great thing for you to do. So I'm giving you permission to go ahead and nudge them. I had to nudge a couple of my friends, so nudge your kids, your grandkids, and your friends. Also, the Optimist Club of Oak Park and Royal Oak Township asks that I let you all know that our Congresswoman, Brenda Lawrence, will be their special guest speaker on this Wednesday, the 19th at 6 p.m. She's going to be in the Oak Park Recreation Room, number 1, and she'll be talking about congressional update and also answering any questions you have about federal issues that are going on. It's open to the public. Again, it's presented by the Oak Park Optimist, and refreshments will be served to anyone. Last but not least, I just want to say it's hot. So, if you see someone out there, I see a lot of people standing out with signs for work or for help. They also accept water. They accept tissues and hand sanitizer. I know because I give it all the time. So if you see somebody out there outside that may need a cool drink of water, think about, just packing some in your car and giving it to them. It may not be cool at the time, but it's still hydration. And stay cool, everybody.
Thank you. Councilmember Burns.
Good evening, and thank everyone for coming out. I just would like to say that I had the honor to attend the Summerfest this year, and I had a wonderful time. I encourage all residents to please come to the Summerfest and get involved in all of our free community activities. I was also honored with speaking to the audience on the stage, which was a really good feeling, by the way. And I had a wonderful time at the Summerfest, so I encourage all the residents to attend next year. Thank you for coming out, and as Councilmember Speech said, it is hot outside. Please take care of our seniors. Make sure that your pets have cool water to drink as well. Thank you and have a safe evening.
Cooling Center. Councilmember Seligson.
No, I'm not going to say thank you tonight. I'm going to say if somebody knows that there are oil sands under my house, I am open to selling the mineral rights and attaching it to the Keystone Pipeline and making a lot of money. Have a good night.
City Manager Tungate had something to say about the cooling center in case we get some hot days.
We do have a cooling center, and I believe the temp has to be 95, Julie, if I'm not mistaken, or higher. Okay, and it is in the Oak Park Community Center, so if someone needs to access it, they can, but we do only open it if it's 95 or hotter. That is the outside temperature.
Thank you all for coming and spending the evening with us tonight. The Summerfest was just a joy beyond belief, bigger and better every year. The planning that went into it, you have no idea how many meetings these people went to make this wonderful event happen. I can't tell you how much I appreciate your time and your effort and your joy and your exciting new ideas, and it's everything that makes Oak Park a wonderful community to live in. Thank you again and good night. No, I don't think we need a fracking ordinance.
It's all good, it's my job, so don't worry about it. But I'm gonna pass it along to them, and they're gonna take a look at it. They're just gonna.
Okay, now what would we have to do?